There are a few things in this world that are more haunting than when a loved one disappears without a trace and you never find out what happened to them. In today's story, we will dive into two chilling cases that remain unsolved to this day: the mysterious disappearance of Jennifer Kesse and Asha Degree. Both vanished without a trace, leaving behind heartbroken families. Welcome to History, Mystery, and ESL, where we share true crime, mystery, and history stories in simple English, along with thought provoking questions. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Our first case is the mysterious disappearance of Jennifer Kesse. Jennifer Kesse was the type of girl who had so much going for her at such a young age. She was a very impressive woman and had a promising future ahead of her. She was born on May 20th, 1981, and grew up in Tampa, Florida. She graduated from the University of Central Florida in 2003 and received a job offer as a financial analyst at Westgate Resort before even graduating from college. She was doing so well at her job that she got 3 promotions within her first year. She had just bought a condo in Orlando, Florida, and lived alone. She accomplished all this at just 24 years old. She was smart, curious, respectful, and very well liked. Jennifer was also known to be extremely cautious and obsessed with safety. She always locked her doors. She would always call someone on the phone when she worked alone. Her condo complex was still under construction and many workers were around during the day. When they needed to enter her apartment for repairs, she would stay in the doorway and keep someone on the phone with her. This is why the events that occurred on January 24th, 2006 absolutely shocked Jennifer's family and loved ones. On the night of January 23rd, 2006, Jennifer returned home from a trip with her long-distance boyfriend, Rob Allen. She was exhausted from her trip, so she just planned to have a relaxing evening. That night, she spoke with her mom, her best friend, and her boyfriend, Rob. But the next morning, January 24th, Jennifer didn't show up for work. That was very unusual, so her boss called her parents. Right away, they knew something was wrong. They tried to call her, but her phone was off. They rushed to her condo and found her car was missing. Inside her condo, there were a few strange details. Her purse, keys, and phone were gone. There was pepper spray by her bed, and the shower was still wet, like someone had just used it. Her parents, of course, contacted the police immediately, but the police were very slow to act at first. They didn't consider her a missing person. But Jennifer's family started searching right away. They printed and handed out missing person flyers to share with the public, hoping someone might recognize Jennifer and come forward with information. Sadly, none of their efforts led to any answers. At 9 p.m. that night, Jennifer was finally entered into the Florida police system as a missing person. 2 days later, her car was found abandoned at an apartment complex about a mile from her condo. The area had a bad reputation. It was known for crime and drug activity. When police examined the car, they noticed the driver's seat was pushed all the way back, as if someone much taller than Jennifer had been driving it. Unlike Jennifer's condo, this complex had security cameras. For a moment, the police believed they might finally have a lead that could reveal what happened to Jennifer. The security cameras captured someone parking her car and walking away. But there was one big problem. The video was extremely blurry and grainy. This person, dressed in all white, had their face hidden behind a fence in every frame. Experts studied this video over and over again. Jennifer's parents even sent it to NASA, hoping their advanced technology could clear the image, but even NASA couldn't improve it enough to identify the person. To this day, no one knows who that person was or what they may have done to Jennifer. In the next 2 years, over 1,400 volunteers helped in the search for Jennifer. People cared and wanted answers, but no real clues ever came out of this. So, what are some theories about what happened to Jennifer Kesse? First, abducted by a construction worker. Jennifer had mentioned to her family that she felt uncomfortable around some of the construction workers at her apartment complex, saying they would often catcall her. After she disappeared, some of these workers also started disappearing. Many of them were undocumented immigrants, which made it difficult for authorities to trace their whereabouts. In 2008, one of the former workers who had done work inside Jennifer's condo was arrested for statutory rape. Because of his connection to the property, investigators looked closely at him for any possible link to Jennifer's disappearance. However, no evidence tying him to the case was ever found. Jennifer's ex-boyfriend. Another person the police looked at early in the investigation was Jennifer's ex-boyfriend, Matt. Matt had taken their breakup hard and was reportedly still struggling with it. On the night Jennifer went missing, Matt was seen at a bar near her condo. Police questioned him, and while some found his behavior suspicious, there was no real evidence connecting him to Jennifer's disappearance. Her coworker. Jennifer also had a coworker who showed an intense romantic interest in her, but she made it clear that she didn't date coworkers. On the morning she vanished, the same coworker arrived late to work, a detail that immediately raised suspicions. Then, when he was told about Jennifer's disappearance, his reaction was disturbing. He reportedly said, "She's probably been eaten by alligators by now." While his comment and behavior were strange, he was able to prove that he was late to work because he received a speeding ticket on his way to work. Despite the red flags, investigators found no evidence linking him to Jennifer's disappearance. Human trafficking. Another theory that has been considered is human trafficking. Some investigators believe Jennifer may have been taken by traffickers, especially since she disappeared without a trace. Orlando, where Jennifer lived, is located along major highways that are often used as trafficking routes, but there has not been any solid proof that Jennifer was taken by traffickers. Jennifer's family has never stopped looking for her. They've hired private investigators. They've created websites, social media pages, and interviews. They believe she's still out there, and they are never going to stop until they bring her home. The FBI has released age progression photos showing what Jennifer might look like today. There is still a $15,000 reward for any information that could lead to an arrest in the case. Jennifer Kesse's case still remains open and unsolved. Our second case is on Asha Degree. Asha Degree was a 9-year-old girl who disappeared from her home in Shelby, North Carolina on February 14th, 2000. It's been over 25 years and no one knows what really happened to her. Asha was a shy, sweet, and responsible girl who always followed the rules. She loved school, reading, and playing basketball. Her parents, Harold and Aquila Degree, were very protective. They didn't have a computer, internet, or even cable TV at home. They wanted to keep their children safe from bad influences. Her family was very close, which made her disappearance even more strange. The day before her disappearance, Asha went to church with her family, then played in a basketball game. Her team lost, and she was very upset. She cried after the game, but seemed to get over it quickly. She was later seen laughing and joking around with her teammates. as usual, sharing a room with her older brother, O'Brien. There were no signs that anything was wrong. A big rainstorm hit Shelby that night. The power even went out for a short time. Asha's father, Harold, had worked the night shift. He came home around 11:30 p.m. At 2:30 a.m., he checked on the kids. They were both in bed asleep. But at 6:30 a.m., Asha's mother went to wake them up and Asha was gone. The front door was still locked and there was no sign of a break-in. They noticed that Asha's backpack and some of her personal belongings were missing. It turned out that the night before, Asha had secretly packed a bag with a few of her things and sneaked out of the house. Her mother immediately ran to wake her father, and they called the police. Soon after the police started searching, two different drivers came forward. They said they saw a little girl walking alone on Highway 18 around 4 a.m. It was raining and very dark. One of the drivers said he turned his car around to check on her, but she ran into the woods and disappeared from his sight. Several witnesses also reported seeing Asha enter a green AMC Rambler vehicle the night she disappeared. On February 17th, police found some of Asha's things in a shed along the road. They discovered a pencil, a marker, and a hairbow. Then, in August 2001, over a year later, construction workers found her backpack. It was buried inside two plastic garbage bags 26 miles away from her home at this construction site. Inside the bag were her clothes, a basketball uniform, and some family photos. What could have happened to Asha? Asha's disappearance seems like it was planned, which is why the most common theory is that she ran away from home and something bad happened to her afterward. At school, Asha had been reading a book about a child who ran away from home. Some people believe this story may have inspired her to leave on her own in search of an adventure. But many questions remain. Why would she leave her home in the middle of the night during a storm? This behavior was completely unlike her. She was always a rule follower. Asha's parents also said she was afraid of dogs and afraid of the dark. So why would she sneak out to go out alone in the middle of the night? Which brings us to the second theory. Was Asha lured out of her home? Although every witness who saw her that night said she was alone, it's possible she had arranged to meet someone, either a stranger or someone she knew. Maybe this person convinced her to leave in the middle of the night to meet them and they harmed her. The police have kept most details of Asha's case private over the years, sharing very little with the public. However, in 2025, they officially named Roy and Connie Dedman as suspects connected to the investigation. Roy and Connie Dedman became suspects in Asha Degree's case after some new clues were found. In 2001, police found Asha's belongings about 26 miles away from her home. DNA on those items matched their youngest daughter, Annalie Dedman, who was 13 when Asha disappeared. DNA from another man, Russell Underhill, who lived in a home owned by the Deadmans, was also found. Because the Deadman daughters were so young at the time, police believe an adult may have helped to cover up a crime. That's why they started looking more closely at Roy and Connie. Also, police found a green AMC Rambler car on Roy Dedman's property. This is important because someone had seen Asha get into a similar car the night she disappeared. No one has been arrested yet, but the Dedman family is still a major focus in the investigation as police search for the truth about what happened to Asha. It's been 25 years and the case is still unsolved. Asha seemed like a wonderful little girl and she was so loved by her community. Every year on February 14th, Asha's family and friends walk through their town to remember her. Her parents have never given up hope and they believe that one day they will find out the truth of what Asha. Thank you for watching. What do you think happened to Jennifer Kesse and Asha Degree? Please comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true crime, mystery, and historical stories in easy English. See you next time.
They're having children now, and you realize all of that, and that's when you realize. That's when I realized what I missed out on. But I thank God for the 9 years that we did get to have her. She's the first thing I think of when I get up in the morning, and the last thing I think of when I go to bed. We never forget. I will never forget as long as I draw breath.